What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about if Just Cause 5 will be at E3 2021. So, these may seem random, by the way. I know I was starting it off kind of a little bit weird, but I've been asked quite a lot for Saints Row 5 and the duo of 5, Saints Row 5 and Just Cause 5. And I did the Saints Row video, if you guys missed it, I believe yesterday is when I talked about if Saints Row 5 will be announced at E3. Honestly, I think Saints Row has a pretty big chance. I also think Just Cause, to be flat out honest, could also have a pretty big chance. There is, I would say, enough out there and enough assumptions, although you don't always want to go based off assumptions, there's definitely enough of them to suggest that Just Cause 5 is in the works. Just Cause 5 has been in the works actually for a good amount of time, okay? And it's just a question of when they would like to get it out, and then, when, I guess released is the better word, right? And then when you want to announce it versus when it's releasing. So we're going to talk about all that in this video. If you guys are new here, you guys do like the stuff, I've been covering E3 a ton over the last month, kind of pitching ideas of games that could or could not be there. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on. I do have a second channel as well. I do a daily video over there. It's called Podcast Now Plus. Link for that is always in the description below if you guys want to check that out. But again, this is a much requested game, just like Saints Row, so I wanted to do the work and to bring this to you. And again, I think to make it very clear, again, I think the odds of this game being real, being developed, existing, all that stuff are very, very high. I think it's just a matter of when, not if. Is Just Cause 5 in the works? Yes, it's just when would they announce it. So a little history, okay? Avalanche Studios, which is the team that makes it. Don't get that confused with Avalanche Software, and I know I'll probably get it mixed up, probably saying it wrong in these videos, but Avalanche Software is the ones who are doing Hogwarts Legacy. Studios is the one that, and they're not even owned by the same people, none of that stuff, but they are the ones who have done Just Cause games in the past. And really, they have done other stuff, but Just Cause is pretty much it, and then you can add a couple games here and there, but it's their biggest franchise. It's what they primarily do. Now, technically, they did Just Cause 4, which I believe released in December, the year it came out, so December 2018, and then they helped with Rage 2. Now, I actually really didn't like Rage 2. I honestly wasn't the biggest fan of Rage 1 in the first place, so maybe I was going in with the wrong mindset, but they helped make Rage 2. So I only throw that in there because they were... Now, that came out in 2019, and I don't think they were the biggest part in the world. They were actually talked about as like a collaborative partner because they liked their destruction physics they did on Just Cause 3, so they kind of enlisted them to help make Rage 2. But it came out a year, actually less, like 3, 4, 5 months after Just Cause 4 did, okay? So, really, I would say ever since mid-2019, they were doing nothing if they were not making new games, which obviously they would move on to make a new game. So, I would imagine at this point, we're looking at around 2 or so years, maybe a little less than 2 years, of working on their next game, of Just Cause. Now, I think Saints Row is the high, like if we're comparing them, even though I know they're not even remotely the same thing, they're not made from the same people, but they both have 5 in their name, and that's close enough. If you look at Saints Row, that one, the rumor has it, and I do believe it, has been in the works an extraordinarily long time. In terms of, it's probably very close to being done. It's likely it could even be announced and then released in the same year that it's announced. Just Cause is a bit more of a, again, we can all agree it's real, but like, will it be announced? Now, Square Enix has been the publisher of the past games, so I would imagine, unless something radically changed, Square Enix would be the publisher of this game. So you look to Square Enix's press conference and you say, well, could they do it? It really, and I've talked about this in other videos, it seems like Square Enix could very well have the best show at E3. And that's not, I'm not like, yeah, you can kind of laugh, and I kind of laugh at it, and I kind of joke about it, but like Microsoft's going, and Microsoft will have Bethesda there, and Halo Infinite, and all this stuff. Like, that's no joke. You know what I mean? Ubisoft can definitely show some things. Warner Bros., WB Games is going. They could blow it out of the water if they wanted to, but they really, in reality, it looks like Square Enix could potentially, they have, I think, a very wide range of things they could potentially do at E3. So I'm really getting excited, like, more and more every day about the like what they could potentially do. And this is just another, like, you just kind of casually throw this one in there, right? That, like, this is a possibility that they could announce. But I do think it's possible. There were job listings found, I believe, back in 2020 that added, in case people people don't believe it's Just Cause. They talked about the engine. They talked about like the biggest and most active open world they've ever had. There was a lot of job descriptions basically that hinted very, it didn't say the game, but it very much, like if you think about Just Cause while reading them, you could, technically it could be something else. There's not a 100% guarantee that it's Just Cause 5, but if it's not, then it's a game that's very much like Just Cause. You know what I mean? So I think, again, game's been in the work. Now, the job postings are only around a year or so old. So, like, what were they doing in that year in between? Well, you could say pre-production. That probably makes the most sense. Companies go through pre-production. So they may have been in full production for around a year or so. Is that enough time to announce something? It just depends on how fast. I believe Just Cause 3 was 2015. You may have to correct me if I'm wrong, but if that's the case, 3 years in between. So you would say, well, and again, everything's kind of off because of the stuff around the world. That's delayed stuff. Then if you think about it, again, like Just Cause 4 was the end of 2018, which means the end of 2021 would be, that 3-year mark. But they also did Rage 2. So, like, how did that affect things? Like, did that push things back? Did they basically get started on the next game a little bit slower than they have previously, right? So there's things that are kind of curveballs that you can't, or I can't fully account for. So I'm not sure, you know what I mean? So what I would say is I think they would be able to show something. I think they'd be able to at least say they're working on it. It probably wouldn't release this year. I think that's very, very unlikely. And then the question is, for the purpose of the video, like, is that enough? Is that something that's worth announcing it at E3? I think, it depends on how Square Enix's strategy goes. They're no stranger, mainly in the more Japanese area, they're no stranger to announcing games way too early. Kingdom Hearts 3, Final Fantasy 7, Remake, right? All those games, they announced way when they didn't really have anything. Just Cause, again, if it's a year, say, now, it's not coming out, I would imagine, this fall. Maybe it does and surprises me. If it comes out next fall, which I think is more likely, could you still announce it, like, right now, like another 2 weeks from now? I think it's possible. I do. This is one of those games that, I've talked about. I think I'm getting close to 30 games I've talked about for E3. I'm trying to set a record against only myself because nobody else even does this. And there's been games that I've given high odds to. There's games that I've given next to 0 odds to. This is one of the ones I'd put right in the middle. I would not be shocked either way. Like, if it's there, I'd be like, yeah, makes sense. If it's not there, I'd say, yeah, it's possible. It's only been worked on for like a year and a half, maybe 2 years max, and so that also makes sense. You know what I mean? So this is very much that middle territory where I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that it's real. It's definitely real. It's just, do you choose this E3 to show it or not? Okay, so let me know, guys, in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think that it's happening? Do you think that it's going to be announced this year, maybe next year? Let me know. As always, again, make sure you guys are subscribed to this channel. I've covered E3 a ton. We're going to be covering the actual, like, as we get into E3, quite a bit on the channel. So I got lots of plans, really exciting plans for you. So make sure you're subscribed. Bell icon turn on so you see when all the videos go up. Even though YouTube still does a terrible job of spreading the videos, make sure if you guys want to subscribe to my second channel, Podcast Now Plus. I'll be using that for kind of additional help. I do a video a day there. Link for that is in the description below. Thank you all for watching, guys, and I hope to see you all on the next video.